We have to be at 95% or greater accuracy to be a trusted solution. And most AI solutions, unfortunately, that were being delivered to market even a couple years ago and still today, they don't pay attention to the accuracy, and they say, well, we'll get there over time. We're going to launch this solution. We're going to get employees to use it. We're going to take in all that training data and we're going to improve upon it. But guess what? You probably lost them already. If they couldn't trust in it from day one, what makes them want to come back to it 90 days from now when you are now ready for that? So that's the big difference of what we deliver. We want to be that solution that is trusted, it is accurate, because that helps you build the other things that you can do with the solution so employees want to use it. They see it as a beneficial resource for them. And then the business gets the benefit because these are things that they operationally need to streamline so that they can free up their valuable time to focus on other initiatives that drive a lot of impact for the overall bottom line.
This continues the trust kind of theme, but that was a challenge at NBC Universal trying to evaluate some of these early conversational AI kind of chatbots and, which use cases do we start with? How much proprietary data do we need to feed it? And how reliable will the answers be? I mean, at least at that time, if it didn't know the answer, you very quickly knew that it didn't know the answer, as opposed to a generative AI powered solution where you have to worry about hallucinations and it actually giving you an answer that sounds like it might be correct, or but it might not be completely off, right? Like hallucinations is the focus now, whereas before it just only had a certain corpus of information, and so there was a lot of stuff it just didn't know, but at least it told you that it didn't know.
Well, if you
Right.
think about the whole basis of how large language models were created, it was on publicly accessible information,
Yeah.
right? If you think about what happens inside business, that's not publicly accessible information that these models could learn from. And so when people in the industry talk about, well, you can just take an employee handbook and throw it into a GPT model and employees are going to get all that support they need. Okay, go ahead and try that, but the models have never been really trained for that, nor do they really understand the nuances in how employee handbooks have been written. I have written a number of them, and they always get a review by an attorney, and why certain language needs to be in certain ways. And so when we leverage aspects of generative AI today, what we do is we say, okay, we know that there's some great ways you can take your own existing content, customer. We're going to allow you to leverage that information. We're going to bring it into our whole solution, which means first step, we apply our own proprietary AI model, which means we know a lot of the ways employees have asked questions alongside this type of information you're giving us to ingest. We also apply retrieval augmented generation, which is hopefully people are learning more and more about that. And it's a way to kind of synthesize the data to more of a specific use case. And then we even apply, the human in the loop, which means the content we've ingested gets populated into our architecture, which is this curated library of all these different types of questions. And then we want the business users to review those answers, lock them in, we call it lock it in place, so that they know that consistently every time an employee is asking certain types of questions, they're going to get the same answers without the errors of hallucination. And this is a really important fact, and I hate to kind of dwell on it, but we submitted voluntarily to the EEOC. They will let you do a review of your technology, and we sat on a call. We showed what we do. What they really appreciated about our solution is that at any point in time, an employer absolutely knows what information was delivered to an employee as far as a specific answer. There's also the audit trail, as I mentioned, that if an answer was incorrect, we're surfacing that. Sometimes it means the business needs to update that information because things have changed inside their environment, or a link that's referenced has moved, and that needs to be surfaced. But you look at the backlog of cases that are happening in the EEOC related to AI, and you really need to be more mindful about what you're doing.